Okay, so time and go ahead and everybody. Too fun. Hi, everybody. There you go. How's everybody doing today? And don't worry if you don't want to. You don't have to have your video up. You could, if you just want to chime in and talk every once in a while, that's fine. Okay. So before we get started, does anybody have any questions? No. Okay. Questions? Okay, great. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about two readings we had for one being an argument, one being a call to action, both different forms of arguments. And it kind of feeds into our assignment. So upcoming deadlines. I just have three listed at the moment. So our topic proposals due before the weekend is over with. That way there's nothing to worry about over spring break. And then on the 6th of next month, we'll try to have a paper peer review. And like I said before, I'll just create groups of us and we'll share each other's Google Docs and we can edit it that way and leave feedback. And then the rough draft for me will be on the 11th. So there's all that. There's nobody else. Okay, so a call to action or a complaint. So arguments can be used for many different reasons. So to complain about how stupid something is, to make a different argument invalid, to convince a person or a group of something, to create a call to action, to logically express something. For other reasons I can't think about right now. That's the wrong right. That's great. Today we're going to just focus on calls to action and how arguments are an extension of this. Gosh, I don't like having errors in there. So writing as an argument. So using the Muggles and Mudbloods paper as a backdrop for argument, there are a few things to consider. So the main point of the essay is racism and how it relates to the Harry Potter series. This is done using three discussion points. So after this, the paper moves to a counter argument by bringing up three criticisms of Rowling in order to defend the writer against criticisms. And here, secondary sources other than the novels are used in two different ways, with one source being used as a talking point for evidence and another as possible criticisms, which the writer of this paper responded to. And then how is this broken down? And this type of argument is not exactly what we're doing for the essay, but you'll see what I'm doing with this in just a moment. So here you have an introduction, which is a statement of the topic. And then you have point one, which he spent 2 paragraphs on, point two, and point three, and then the introduction of others' criticisms, counterpoint one, counterpoint two, final stance overview, and then the conclusion. And that's how the typical argument was laid out in this paper. And that's kind of what you can expect for other types of arguments, other than the call to action that we're doing today. So how is this different than, I'll get that off there. How does this differ from a call to action? So writing as a call to action. So using the Not the Flu paper as an analysis of a call to action or change-making essay, there are several things to notice. So the essay identifies a problem. It also mentions who is affected by the problem. The essay makes a declaration of what should be done about the issue. The essay builds upon information gathered from research. The paper also addresses some misinformation / counter arguments. And then after making a case for what needs to be done about the recognized problem, the author states what she will do in order to raise awareness. I don't know if I'm covering all this too quickly because we're already 3 minutes in, but whatever. It's such a weird thing we're going through. So how is this laid out? So we have the introduction, we have the statement of the problem. Who is affected by the problem? What do people need to know? Who is highly affected by this problem? Why do people not want to fix this problem? How else will this problem affect others? What is the fix? What could happen if this problem is not fixed? And then steps the author will take in order to raise awareness / conclude. and then the inclusion of an infographic for others to look at. So the infographic here is this little thing that was at the back of the page in the book. This is what somebody created as their multimodal version of this essay. They used either Venngage or PictoCharts. I think this one was done with PictoCharts. I don't remember. These are just two possible avenues you can do if you wanted to do like a flyer or something that you wanted to discuss rather than actually do a normal like video essay. This is just some other ideas for like a multimodal portion of your subject of your project. And then, like I stated with each of these talking points, I did highlight some things from the essay that you can really look at. So you do have the points that they made. You have the thesis topic, which I didn't really care for. However, don't be afraid to have a solution head your way, but that's a whole other thing. You have the introductory bit in the second paragraph where they talk about who would be affected by this. Although at first it makes it seem like it's really the elderly that are at risk, but this paper is more so about college students who are at risk because they are so clustered around everybody in their courses. And it goes on to say that, like, 1 out of every 5 college students across 8 different universities got the flu vaccination. When more should have been done, but they did get some sources to look over this. So they are at least discussing some of the research that they've done. Going on the chat. Okay. And it's really just a general bit of information that everybody should know when going over this, and just certain movements that this writer made when going through the essay, and just things that we need to know. And then in the conclusion, you have the steps the writer is going to take to raise additional awareness. And this is what led into that infographic that I just showed you. And then you have their sources. So there's not really a limit on how many sources you need. I would say at least 2 sources should be good, but it depends on how much has been said about your topic already. I'm sure some of you are going to choose things that have a lot discussed. So it's really just, what do you want to address in your paper? What do you think is a necessary background for us or for your readers to know about when going into your topic? What kind of change you want to make? What's the issue? Because you have to make it seem like there's an issue and that people will be affected by it. And then examine what's already been said. And yeah, and then something like this or your video, whichever one works better for you. But so since we had an argument example and a call to action example, what are some differences? An argument is just trying to make a case that something exists. It uses research to bolster an argument, and it predicts possible counter arguments or lists others' criticisms and responds to these. Whereas the call to action or the change-making essay that we'll be doing is making a case that a problem exists and explains what has already been said using the research that you've done, and then add something new to say on top of the research. So you're not just repeating what's already been done, you're trying to say something new. Then you posit a solution to the problem, and you address, and then the paper addresses possible drawbacks of solutions. And really, that's one big thing you should be considering. So with the paper itself, does anybody have any questions at the moment about anything with it? Are they having trouble with finding out a topic? Because I know there were some issues finding out topics for the last paper, so I'll make sure everybody's kind of comfortable in discussing something that needs to be fixed. Or is that a little more clear? And I can't hear anybody yet. So if you just want to chime in, you're free to unmute yourself, or you can type into the chat. I would like to answer any questions that you may have.
The rubric for the paper, it's on Blackboard too as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So does anybody else have any other questions regarding this? And it's so weird, I can't like look at people and their facial expressions and like point out who may want to talk. It's all very strange. Okay, great. I see. I haven't put the slides on Blackboard yet. Um, I'll probably go ahead and put I put Wednesday's slides on Blackboard. I'll put these slides on Blackboards, and I am at least putting just a link only version of however long our sessions are on YouTube so that nobody else can see it unless you have the link. And I'll put those on YouTube as well. I said before that I'd have to try to find some way to take attendance, although my boss is telling me not to really worry about it right now. So we'll try to figure out something. And then over spring break, I'll have a better idea of what our meetings are going to look like. Um, okay, so the audience in the essay, that's whoever you think needs to know about your paper topic. Like if you're addressing college students, like this paper did with the flu, then you can write it to college students. So it doesn't have to be super professional. It can be first person if you want it to be. Okay, and then the Monday when we get back, that is a tough one because after we get back from spring break, sort of, I haven't decided because I don't because if I try to do this 3 times a week, I would have less and less to say. Like I had very little to say today, really. Um, so I'll try to find some way to at least balance our schedules so that we're still discussing with each other. Um, and would I be able to expound on arguments that I had made previously by revisiting that and using elements from it in my essay? Do we just need to choose an entirely new topic? That just depends on how much you're using from the previous paper. If you're adding to it, um, okay, I'll answer that one in just a second. There we go. And as long as you're adding a lot to your previous research that you've done or previous things that you've written about, um, it should be okay. Okay, both are not due by 4/11. Only the paper version is due by 4/11. It's saying two texts, but that is text in quotation marks because the other one is going to be your multimodal project. So it could be your video essay or just whatever's going to be involved in your presentation. So it could be that infographic that you make to go along with your paper. Because it's not supposed to be the same thing. Um, you're just taking your paper and adding to it so that you can address a different audience and present it differently for the audience. I'll answer that in a second. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, you don't have to do two different like texts because those are texts and like quotation marks like before. So it's just the. Let me go back to that slide. Upcoming deadlines. So yeah, it's just a rough draft for me for just the paper. Um, so when you're, and that's after your peer review with each other, and that's on the 6th. So that's gonna be the Monday after the break is over. So the next Monday after that. So yeah, that one, I'm at least going to break you up into groups and then have you share each other's papers with each other. I'm repeating myself with words. Great job. And yeah. So the second one, if we go back to if you want to see the rest of the deadlines, I can go back to that really quick. Because I just didn't want to have so many things up on the screen, so that makes it a little more clear. And it does say video essay. You can get rid of the video essay part. Just do a video essay if you want to. If you can utilize something multimodal for the second version of your paper, that's fine. But yeah, so the polished draft of this paper won't be due until the 18th at the moment. And then whatever your multimodal portion of your project is going to be, that's going to be what's presented on the 27th and the 29th. We'll have like 5 to 8 minutes to discuss whatever it is our projects were. And then this is like leads into the fourth and sixth where we go over final portfolio submission. So this is where you will rewrite everything that you've done this semester so that you can get a better grade, or just so that you can at least make a case that you've become a better writer, or something. And yeah, the video portion of it is optional. You'll still have to, my current idea is that you will have to at least do something multimodal, um, which utilizes different modes of engagement. So it's like visuals, text, perhaps speech. Although um, currently, I think we'll meet with this like in Zoom, and then somebody else will take over the screen and present their project to us um, as their presentation instead. And if that doesn't work, we'll try to figure something else out. As long as you can at least use audio, and you can have something on your screen for us to look at, that at least acts as an add-on or an extension to your paper, and it's not just saying the same things, but it's actually presented in a new way. So you're not having to like write an entirely brand new text. You're just trying to present it to a different audience and using different strategies to do that. We'll have some readings that are over like multimodal projects in the future. I've kind of just tried to put in like as many examples of um, uh, making change essay with an argumentative essay too, just so you can see the differences there, which was the Harry Potter one that was just purely an argument. But yeah, so does anybody else have any additional questions that they'd like me to address, um, or anything else like that? Okay. So this is gonna seem really weird, but like that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover.
Gonna do, Bridget.
I'm sorry, one more time. I didn't quite catch that. Can you say that again? Okay. Um, okay. So you can type it in if you can't say it again, then that's fine. Otherwise, I've quickly covered like the entire thing that I had ready, which was just at least pointing out differences in arguments and change making essays, which we are going to be doing a call to action or a change making essay. So yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. And everything else you want to add, anything else you'd like me to address, now's the time to do it before we go on spring break. So yeah, other than that, like I said, that's all I have. And so you're free to go. I'll post this on YouTube so you can at least see it if you need to, or others who may have missed it. I will put the slides on, I'll make a copy of each slide and put those on Blackboard as well. Okay, and then with examples about argument videos, sure, I can find you some of those. So that when we're transitioning over to, if we do a video essay instead, I can send you a few examples of those. I'll at least compile a list, and I'll say by like tomorrow at the latest, I can have a list of example like video essays as well, if it helps. Okay, and you're only writing one topic for two different audiences. And yes, you are free to email me over the break. Because I have no life and I'm always have my phone on me. I'll see it if you email me. Now, if I don't get back to you right away, I'm sorry. I could be sleeping because, it's time to sleep. But I'll also be grading all the papers over the spring break since everything for me will be calmed down. And I'll be more used to being stuck where I am because my office on campus is closed now. And yes, you do not have to create a video. If you're not comfortable with making a video, You do not have to make one. You just have to find some way to utilize a multimodal project to get your message across. And I will have some examples, or I will have some readings that discuss what a multimodal project will look like. And if you do look at some of the example essays of this section, it does have on the back of those pages, or we just looked at like the flyers that people have made to go along with their essays, and that's that's text, images, and some type of infographic for people to look at. So it is different than the essay, even though it uses information from it. It is just addressing a different audience because it's highly condensed information. You can use the same sources between your essay and your video, just as long as you are at least trying to make it more digestible for this different audience, whatever you want your secondary audience to be. Although, since it is going to be mostly visual for the secondary audience, it shouldn't be as wordy as the essay. So just condense information that's very informative. All right, the minimum page requirement for the essay is 3 to 5 pages. And then our presentations of our projects will be 5 to 8 minutes. So at least 5 minutes. So that when you're presenting them, you do at least talk about what you've done and the choices you've made. If you're just doing an infographic that has nothing to go along with it, you do at least have to explain your choices and your project to the class for that set amount of time. But if you do a video essay, all you have to do is just show it to us, and then you won't have to do any more talking because it's all done in your video. So it's just whichever one is easiest. And no, I don't have that ready. So hopefully that answers any more questions you may have. And I think I had a Unit 3 thing that I had. No, I don't know where it was. It's somewhere. And okay. It's one essay and one presentation. Your presentation can just be a video, but you don't have to do a video and a presentation. Yeah. So you're just presenting whatever you've done for your secondary project. I was trying to push the video when we had to move mostly to a digital space, but there are still ways, although it would be difficult, to have other types of projects up here. I don't need to have this like this now. To at least have other types of projects presented to the class. We'll figure out something. If something doesn't work for you, or if you're having some struggles, just let me know. We'll see what we do, because we're in a weird sort of space right now. And I'm hoping it starts to get better, but it's not going to. So yeah, any additional questions? Fantastic. Okay. So yeah, like I said, I'll put these slides on Blackboard. I'll put this video on YouTube, and just to give you the link, you don't need an account to view the video, so don't worry about that. So yeah, otherwise, you can just have a wonderful day. Have a great spring break. If you're having trouble finding or figuring out a topic for your paper, let me know, and I'll try to help you. You cannot hear me. Uh-oh. Let me just address this really quick. So yeah, otherwise, just send me your topics. You can just email me your topics if you don't want to put them in your folder. Just as long as you get them to me in some way, that works out just fine. Otherwise, go enjoy your spring break. Try to enact some social distancing, but still give your family plenty of love, and just have a wonderful day. So you're free to go. You have a wonderful day. And then I could